Good evening and welcome to SVGTV's news for Wednesday, November 24th, 2021. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves today reported that a 90% vaccination rate has been recorded in several of the 13 categories of frontline workers required to take the COVID-19 jab as part of the government's vaccination policy under the Public Health Amendment Act. The 13 categories of frontline workers were impacted by the new COVID-19 rules and regulations, which came into effect on Monday, November 22nd, 2021. These workers were given the option to get vaccinated or leave their job after a 10-day grace period. Speaking on the matter on radio this morning, Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves said that he has been getting good reviews on the requirements for vaccination against COVID-19 for frontline workers and strategic employees.
This is 90-something%. The teachers are knocking their head up now, something, I haven't got the final numbers, but it'd be a number close to 80% in all different areas, and a lot of schools. All the schools are open. Out at community college, there was a little miscommunication with over the weekend about some students when they should come in face to face now. Right. You still have some persons to decide whether they're going to take the vaccine in this 10-day grace period or not. The airport is 90-something%. The port. Well, up to last week, the airport was 89%, so it's more now. Bishan at the Port Authority, the CEO, told me yesterday that he's gone past the 90 threshold. I haven't seen the data. Customs, immigration, everything is working.
The Prime Minister commended further the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force for having over 90% of the police officers vaccinated. He, however, noted that a large amount of auxiliary officers are still pushing back on getting vaccinated.
The forces, the group, you have 100, we employ at different places, 120 auxiliaries. And for some inexplicable reason to me, when you look down the list of the persons who are unvaccinated, that is proportionately, that is the group with the highest level of unvaccinated. For instance, you have 80 were fully or partially vaccinated, and 40 of them unvaccinated. And they're not in a position as favorable as the police.
Prime Minister Gonsalves further appealed to other frontline workers who have not yet taken the jab or gotten an exemption to do so soonest, noting that he does not want anyone to lose their jobs as a result of the vaccination policy.
I don't want anybody to lose his or her job by they themselves abandoning their job. Right. You know, I mean, choices have consequences. And I'm urging persons, we don't continue this fight now. I mean, let's work together. You take the vaccine and let's move on.
A 65-year-old male who tested positive for COVID-19 on November 18th died on November 22nd, 2021 of COVID-19 pneumonia, bringing this country's death toll from the viral illness to 74. The deceased was unvaccinated and had known underlying conditions. Meanwhile, 32 new COVID-19 positive cases were reported from 260 samples collected on Monday, November 22nd, resulting in a positivity rate of 12.3%. 10 new rapid antigen positive results were also reported from flu clinics on Monday. There are currently 9 patients admitted for COVID-19 at the Argyle Isolation Facility. All are said to be unvaccinated. 9 patients have also been admitted to the COVID-19 ward at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. 7 of these patients are unvaccinated and 2 fully vaccinated. 13 new recoveries were noted over the reporting period. 481 cases are currently active and 74 persons with COVID-19 have died. 5,446 cases of COVID-19 and 4,891 recoveries have been recorded in SVG since March of last year. 10 fisherfolk from the Calico community this week received material from the Fisheries Division to construct fish pots. The materials, which include 20 rolls of 1.5 inch mesh, 252 lengths of steel, were delivered at the Calico Fisheries Center and handed over to the fishermen. They were handed over by Fisheries Division Extension Officer Lorenzo George, who said that the initiative is part of the government's plans to assist fisherfolk who were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and the eruptions of the La Soufrière volcano.
In here this morning is that these 10 fishers, they already have fish pots, but we're just adding to the number of fish pots that they have to increase the production of the landing of fish and fish species. So most importantly, the lobster and the demersal species such as the red hind and the snappers. So we also, as you can look around, you can see some renovation work that is going on. That is done also under the project. So the government has allocated 1.4 million towards a number of activities, and the construction of the fish pot is just one of the activity. The other activities include the assistance to the fishers of 40 engines to fishers throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and also for the renovation of the Calico Fishery Centers, where we are just going to improve the aesthetics and change some of the equipment, the fencing, which is very, very important. So these are some of the initiatives by the government of St. Vincent, and I can say that some of the fishers here this morning are very, very happy to receive these much needed materials for the construction of their fish pots.
George said members of the Fisheries Division will ensure that the fisherfolk construct the fish pots, which will be of benefit to them and the sector.
Plan was to have these fish pots constructed, but given the time, the season has already started in September and it ends in March, so we are hoping that they're going to capitalize on the last 4 months to increase their production. So we're also embracing the blue economy, as you know, so we're here to more or less increase the economic benefits to our fishers and to improve their livelihood. And while doing this, we're also ensuring that they're going to fish sustainably.
The Extension Officer said that the Fisheries Division is hoping for an increase in fish landing, which will lead to an increase in revenue and improved livelihood, especially for the fisherfolk with the fish pots.
Fishers construct a fish pot of the size of 4 feet by 4 feet. They will be able to get at least 5 pots, and if they do a 4 by 3, they will be able to get at least 6 pots out of it. So each fisher minimum will be able to get at least 10 fish pots to increase their fish pot fleet so that they can go out and fish. So 2 rolls, each being 450 feet in length, 4 feet height, and that will give each fisher an additional 10 pots to add to their equipment.
Some of the fisherfolk who will benefit from the assistance thanked the Fisheries Division for the items.
My name is Okel Macri. I'm very thankful for these things, but we want to see more because we are working, man. We work very hard. We want to see boat and engine now. You understand? And thank Fisheries for this, and we're going to make use of them.
I just want to say many thanks to the Fisheries Division and the government of this country for supporting us on this day, donating these fish pot buoys and the wires to us, fisher folks at Calico. We have been grateful for the support, and I pray that the government and the Fisheries Division continue to support the fishers throughout the various years to come in all these aspects. Thank you very much.
More fisherfolk in other communities are expected to receive their materials by the end of the week to construct their fish pots. The RSVG Police Force has issued a wanted person bulletin for Romano Chucks Jacobs of Lowman's Windward, who is said to be a person of interest with investigations into a series of theft of stolen livestock in the Caliqua district. The police is soliciting your assistance in locating the subject. If seen, you are asked to contact any police station or Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime at telephone number 456-1339 or 457-1211 extension 4814, or officer in charge of the South Central Division at 458-4200 or 457-5459. The police say all calls would be treated confidentially. In other police news, Kenyatta Diamond, a 46-year-old tradesman of Rillan Hill, was arrested and charged with the offenses of wounding and damage to property. The accused allegedly unlawfully and maliciously wounded a 34-year-old gardener of Rillan Hill by cutting her on her left and right hand with a cutlass, and did without lawful excuse damage one brown leather sandal, the property of the virtual complainant, by chopping the same with a cutlass. The incident occurred at Rillan Hill on November 20th, 2021. The accused appeared before the Kingston Magistrate Court on Monday to answer the charges and pleaded guilty. He was given an 18-month suspended sentence for wounding the virtual complainant and placed on a bond for 1 year. In default, he will pay a fine of 1,500 EC dollars or spend 12 months in prison. The accused was further given an 18-month suspended sentence for the offense of damage to property and placed on a 1-year bond. In default, he will pay a fine of 500 EC dollars or spend 12 months at Her Majesty Prison. Meanwhile, Wendell Nelson, a 42-year-old contractor of Redemption Shops, was arrested and charged with the offense of theft. Investigations carried out by police revealed that the accused allegedly stole $2,500 EC in cash from a police officer at the Kingston between October 26th and November 18th of 2021. The accused appeared before the Kingston Magistrate Court on Monday to answer to the charge and pleaded guilty. He was ordered to compensate the virtual complainant in a sum of $2,500 by December 15, 2021, or spend 3 months at Her Majesty's Prison. He was further bonded for 1 year into the sum of 2,000 EC dollars. In default, he will pay the fine forthwith or 6 months in prison. The most memorable moment of the late Sir James Mitchell was when he and Dr. Ralph Gonsalves went to Grenada Grand Beach 20 years ago, where they hammered out an agreement which brought Sir James's government prematurely to an end, consequent to a series of protests later deemed the Roadblock Revolution. Reminiscing on this moment in history on radio today was Prime Minister Gonsalves, who spoke on some of Sir James's political legacy. Sir James was this country's second Prime Minister and served in this capacity from 1984 to 2000. He also served as Premier from 1972 to 1974. Sir James, who was popularly known as Son Mitchell, died 5 days after being discharged from the intensive care unit of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Barbados, where he had been taken after falling ill at his home in Beckway on October 30th.
I say, I come to Grenada for one thing, to get the date for the next general elections. A lot of discussions was going on. With a lot of people talking. It was completely irrelevant, and some people are talking who had no influence on the event taking place in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I answered a few questions, and then as the time went on from the early evening, we must have been there, I don't know, about 4 hours talking, and as we got close to 11 o'clock, or thereabouts, the night, he just said, listen, I think Ralph and me should go and hold a conversation. And we came outside. Well, everybody applauded. We came outside, and I said there was a restaurant which we had to pass through for the hotel. I said we can go and sit in the corner. I said, no, let me go down on the beach. So we went through the gate and went down on the beach. And, I tell you, he was fuming. about the police, the civil servants, the teachers, people generally who he said that he had helped, and they kicked him while he was under pressure. He was fuming about it. And I said to him, I said, well, we really didn't come out here for you to let off steam, you know?
Prime Minister Gonsalves also spoke on the great legacy that Sir James left behind in his writing career. In one of Sir James's interviews on Boom FM just before he got ill, he spoke about a new book that he was hoping to publish this year through a publishing company in the United Kingdom.
See you close your eyes or anything, you're writing something. You're writing something. And this thing is, well, in my own case, and I think in Sir James's case, reading and writing is like breathing and eating. You can't survive without it. I know it was very good is that up to the end, Sir James kept his mind was alert. And Louise confirmed that to me yesterday.
Prime Minister said Sir James had a rich career and was one who loved his family endlessly.
I mean, he loved his daughters, and he was a man moved easily to tears. He is fond of literature. You know, one of his favorite poems was Kipling's, Rudyard Kipling's "If." You can look it up. And prior to my time, he had served the longest as any prime minister or premier or chief minister until, of course, my time, because he served 16 years or so, just slightly over 16 years as prime minister. But he has a record as representation in the aggregate of about 33 years as a parliamentary representative.
CARICOM chairman and Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has joined other leaders from across the region in paying tribute to SVG's former Prime Minister Sir James Fitz-Alan Mitchell, who passed away on Tuesday, November 23rd at the age of 90. Sir James, who was popularly known as Son Mitchell, died 5 days after being discharged from the intensive care unit of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Barbados, where he had been taken after falling ill at his home in Bequia on October 30th. After he was discharged from the Queen Elizabeth Hospital last Thursday, Sir James had flown home to his beloved Bequia, where he died. Prime Minister Gaston Brown said he telephoned Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves to convey the condolences of the Caribbean community's heads of governments to St. Vincent and the Grenadines on the death of one of its iconic figures. The CARICOM chair recalled that Sir James had served for 16 years as Prime Minister of SVG and during that time was an active religionist promoting several initiatives for the deepening of the integration of the region. Prime Minister Brown also noted that Sir James had been an active advocate of the idea of a political union in the countries of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States in the early 80s. The CARICOM chair concluded his statement by saying the region has lost a true champion of our CARICOM integration and a significant figure in advancing the region's causes in the global community. The Commissioner of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, has also extended sincere condolences to the Mitchell family and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines on the passing of Sir James. Reflecting on the esteemed tenure of the former Prime Minister, OECS Director General Dr. Delias Jules lauded Sir James as one of the elder stalwarts of the regional integration. He said Sir James proudly championed the OECS and will forever be enriched in a pantheon of the historic greats of our region. Dr. Jules said one of Sir James's most notable moments was at the 25th meeting of the OECS Authority in 1995. when he campaigned as a chairman of the idea of the inclusion of Barbados, signaling his ambitions, aspiring for the expansion of the Caribbean family. The OECS Secretariat is marking the solemn occasion of Sir James' passing, with the OECS flag being flown at half-mast. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has added 3 newly accredited ambassadors to its diplomatic list. The accredited ambassadors presented letters of credence to Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, Governor-General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, His Excellency Jose Manuel Romendez, on Wednesday, November 17th, via the online platform Zoom, and presented letters of credence prior to his current appointment. Ambassador Romendez was designated as special envoy to the Philippine President, the United States of America, His Excellency Wellington Ben-Scomin, on Friday, November 19th, 2021, also via online platform Zoom, presented letters of credence. Ambassador Ben-Scomi holds a Master's of Science degree in Applied Economics. His previous experience as a diplomat prior to his current post includes Minister, Counselor, Director of Relations with the United States of America and Canada, Advisor for Bilateral Foreign Policy at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Dominican Republic, and Deputy Chief of the Mission at the Embassy of the Dominican Republic, Washington, D.C. in the USA. The other ambassador to present his letter of credence to the Governor-General on Monday, November 22nd, was His Excellency Fernando Nogales. Prior to his current post, Ambassador Nogales had an extensive career as a diplomat, having served as technical advisor at the Secretariat General of the Northern American Deputy Director General for North America, Eastern Europe, Asia, and the Pacific at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the European Union, and Cooperation, Madrid. Ambassador Nogales holds a degree in law and multilingual, speaking English, French, and Spanish. Ambassador Wellington Ben-Scomi and Ambassador Fernando Nogales, both accredited to St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a residence in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, while His Excellency Jose Manuel also accredited to SVG with a residence in the United States of America. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, by extension, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, welcome the newly appointed ambassadors and renew the government's commitment in working together to strengthen bilateral cooperation between the countries. In other news now, the launch of the savings game app here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines has been flagged as a tool to foster a culture of saving to drive business development. The app, which seeks to help persons understand the purpose and benefits of savings, was launched virtually by German Sparkassen Senstiftung for International Cooperation through its local partner, the Center of Enterprise Development, CED. As he addressed the virtual launch, General Manager of the CED, Felix Lewis, underscored the importance of saving in entrepreneurship. According to Lewis, many people approach CED with business ideas but no plan to save or know how to access finance to start their business, and expect that they can immediately turn their ideas into commercial entities.
The early stages of business development is where the importance of savings is most prominent. Some ideas may never see the light of day as a commercial entity, were it not for the respective entrepreneur's savings or investment from family or friends' savings. This is what is referred to as bootstrapping. Even as business grows, commercial loans require equity, and retained earnings can be used for investment in growth and development of the business. Savings is therefore an important discipline to encourage in the context of business development. It can make the difference between a dream and a commercial reality. The savings discipline, however, has benefits beyond the entrepreneurial context, and it is a life hack that can be applied to normal family life. helping families achieve goals and objectives related to elevating their quality of life.
Lewis said that high on the list of constraints affecting the business sector is a lack of access to finance, especially at the early stage of business development, putting local financial institutions at a risk averse. He said this is why the savings game is important.
The Savings Game app is timely since we are all going through a very challenging time economically, and an important factor in the transition to recovery has to be savings in conjunction with tighter budgeting. The usefulness of this tool will be beneficial well beyond this challenging period and can open up a revitalized role for savings as an important source of investment funds in the medium to long term.
Consultant Timo Butcher gave a demonstration of the savings game to close to 40 guests who attended the Zoom webinar that marked the launch of the app. Both the business games and the app are sponsored by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. The savings game is available for free in the Play Store on Android and App Store in iOS. In addition to English and German, other languages are expected to be offered in the app.